What this means is that as far as ordinary people are concerned, the banks should be used purely as a secure store for their money, the goldsmithing function again, and that the creation of credit should be separated from depositors entirely. Ideally, the bank should not be permitted to create credit at all, certainly not for public spending. This should be done by the government, who should issue it debt-free. John Tomlinson has dealt with this subject at some length in his book Honest Money. Be that as it may, the banking system as it exists is largely a white elephant, and if nothing else, most bank premises can be closed down, as the overwhelming majority of bank-related financial transactions can be carried out online. Now let us look at some of the other functions carried out by banks and other financial institutions. One of these is dealing in shares. Let's take straight share dealing for the moment. If you want to deal in shares, you have to go to a stockbroker, which can be a bank. Although it is referred to as investing, dealing in shares is often more akin to gambling, hence the expression playing the stock market. The banks and stockbrokers who deal in shares may well be gambling, but they are gambling with other people's money. Yours if you patronise them. Gambling with other people's money is the best way to gamble, because if they lose, they don't actually lose. Although they always win, because they charge fees and commission for their services. But are stockbrokers necessary? The answer is surely no. Wouldn't it be better to abolish them altogether and allow people to trade shares directly? It would require nothing more than a simple act of Parliament to abolish stockbrokers and the stock exchange as we know it. Rather than buy from brokers, investors could trade shares directly with other shareholders, or they could trade them on a gaming website such as Betfair, which already offers spread betting. The fees charged by an online share exchange of that nature would be a tiny fraction of that charged by stockbrokers. Then there are managed funds. Many investors don't invest in shares directly, but turn over their money to managed funds such as unit trusts. The rationale behind this is to leave it to the professionals, for surely they know what they are doing. The Great Depression, Black Monday, and most recently the misnamed credit crunch should disavow most savvy investors of that notion. The best evidence indicates that neither fund managers, nor economists, nor bankers, nor even the government really knows what it is doing when it comes to playing the stock market. Certainly they don't know better than the man in the street, the housewife, or even the average parrot. Yes, I did say parrot. Earlier this year, an online stock market investment advice service in Korea ran a competition which pitted 10 investors against one another. One of those investors was a parrot, and the parrot won. This was not a one-off. The reason for this appears to be that the parrot traded rather infrequently. If this sounds surreal, the financial journalist Tony Levine had the answer to that in his book Shares Game, which was published way back in 1987. And the answer really is so simple. Leaving aside the wisdom of investing in a particular company, or how well any individual company does, the average investor or fund manager, quote unquote, cannot beat the market, because the market is made by these funds by virtue of their size. Okay, occasionally somebody will pick a spectacular winner, perhaps by investing in penny shares, but that is really rather akin to buying a lottery ticket every week or every month. Somebody will always hit the jackpot. Every time you buy and sell shares, you're losing money on spread and commission, so buy them and hold on to them. So we don't need stockbrokers. But the biggest benefit to the economy and to all of us, the working classes, the middle classes and entrepreneurs, will come from the abolition of managed funds, unit trusts and similar funds, and in particular hedge funds. Obviously most people who invest in such funds think they make them money. While it is true that over the long term if you invest in unit trusts you will make money, this is not because the fund managers are good at their jobs, it is because the companies that make up the stock market make money, by and large. The same applies here as to ordinary shares, as Mr. Levine concluded and the parrot demonstrated. But with managed funds, including pension funds, the investor has even bigger obstacles to overcome. To begin with, these funds are managed, and fund managers earn, or rather are paid, enormous salaries and bonuses. These funds have expensive offices in the city, and they advertise. Before they make a penny for their investors, all those overheads have to be paid. On September 26, a BBC programme reported that the value of a pension fund is reduced by up to 38% by a modest annual management fee of 1.5%. Think about it. That is over a third of your pension gone, down the drain and into the pockets of parasites who are paid six-figure salaries to play games with the money you have set aside for your retirement. Do we need the city? Do we need banks? If we need them at all, we need far fewer. Fewer financial institutions, fewer parasites, fewer overheads. They don't need these palatial offices and the astronomical overheads associated with them. They could all, or most of them, be closed down and the buildings put to alternative use. The banking system and most of the so-called finance and investment houses could be run far more effectively and efficiently and cheaply with perhaps 20% of the current workforce, and could be totally decentralised. That would mean far fewer commuters, less trains or less crowded trains and buses, less traffic on the roads, even less air travel. Now at this point I can hear somebody shouting, won't that cause unemployment? The short answer is no. When society can produce the same goods and services more efficiently, or more goods and services much more efficiently, there is a net gain in wealth. The problem with the current financial system is that money is distributed largely by wages, salaries and dividends, a method that is clearly inadequate in a world where increasing quantities of consumer goods can be produced and are produced by a shrinking workforce thanks to automation, the transistor and now the silicon chip and the nano revolution. For the solution to the mythical problem of unemployment, check out my financial reform website, or some of the videos on this website produced by other people active in the financial reform movement. If you use the search term basic income, you'll find plenty of short films to mull over for the rest of the credit crunch, including one by my fellow right-wing extremist Bishop Desmond Tutu.